Well, I was lucky to find a piece of tool steel that had already been pretty well roughed out. It was probably a couple of milli, 3 milli wide, and I'm using this to make a 1 milli wide tool for the next part. I'm making this pin the stops for the depth of your divisions. Now in the drawing it asks to do this 1/4 by 40 TPI. Now I haven't got a die or a tap for making the nuts, but what I have got is a 7 by 0.5. So where it says before each turn is 25 thou, well, each turn on this is going to be 1/2 mil, which I'm going to do it in metric. Now, same way applies. I've managed to grind this tool up. It is about 1 millimetre wide, give or take 0.05. I think it's just plus. So I'm going to touch on with my 1/4 mil feeler, zero off, then obviously go forward 1/4 mil. This is 1 inch, 25.4, and then they've got their divisions there because that's a 1/4 thick on there. So obviously they've got a 30-second, so it's a 30-second, then a groove, 30-second, then a groove, 30-second, then a groove, then 30-second part off. Well, mine's going to be 1 millimetre, so my head's going to be 7 wide, which is not going to make much difference because again this is in fresh air. So that's a touch on now. There's my 25.25. So that should put me at the end is 25.4. Then I go forward the width of my tool, which is 1 millimetre. Zero off again and go forward 1 millimetre, because that will then put the back of that tool level with the back of this step. So that's 1 millimetre. Zero that off, and now I'm going to touch off, and it wants a 30-second deep. I don't know if it's either side. Give me a minute. Drawing just says 32nd deep. Now whether that's the depth of the groove, which means overall on the diameter it's going to be a 16th, we'll find out. First off, nice slow speed. I have disengaged my drive for my feeds, so again, no horror stories if you accidentally hit anything. And we'll do it nice and slow and see how we go with a little bit of oil. Well, that's a millimetre on the diameter. That looks deep enough. It's an observational groove. So I'm going to do the other two now, and then I'll run the die down. So again, we've zeroed out. So forward a millimetre. Zero out, then forward another millimetre, and I think it's wash and repeat. Could be rinse and repeat, I don't know. It's one of them mythical, magical machines I have nothing I know about except for how to plumb the damn things in and out. I'll leave all that up to a higher power. You can of course go forward 2 millimetres. Obviously I've got a DRO. If I hadn't got a DRO, I'll be using the more accurate top slide. Right, now get set up for running the die down. Right, got a fresh battery in this camera now. It was just about ready to run out. Got the die head on, the fine die fitted in, low speed, everything disengaged, ready to go. Throw it in reverse, knock the clamp off the tail stock in case it bites and it'll shove the whole lot backwards, and give it a helping hand by withdrawing the ram. We'll see how the die's cut now. Now, because I've gone up slightly, the stock they give you is 5/16 stock, which would leave me 1/2 mil wall thickness if I was to run a 7mm die down it. It's roughly about 8 across flats if you convert it. So what I'm going to do is get hold of some 10mm across flats hex bar, or just make some myself and make some nuts. But obviously I've made myself a nut first off to see how it goes. Can hardly feel any play in that. I haven't gone right to the top up there. I might finish it off by putting the die into a holder later on. It seems to be binding a bit at the top, but other than that, that's a good thread, or it feels to me like a good thread. I'll just very light piece of emery and see if I can clean it up. Now, there's a 4mm hole drilled in the end to take a hardened little pin. I'll do that off camera as well, because I'll go and look for I think it's 532s, is a thou or two just underneath. They ask you to Loctite it in, but if it drills to size, I'll see if I can tap the other one in, or if not, then I'll put the 4mm drill in. And there's only a couple of thou to come out then. It shouldn't stretch the end of this. I did the same when I drilled for this. It's a 6.5mm drill, but I actually went in a milli smaller first off. I put a 5.5mm drill through, and then I took it out with the 6 so it wouldn't cut over size, hopefully. Anyway, it worked. So anyway, I'll finish that off camera, part it off, and show you in a bit. Right, hopefully this is in focus. I'll soon find out. That's one pin done with the 3 grooves. I haven't put the slot in the end yet. It might just be, it says a 16th wide and a 16th deep. I'll either hold it in something, or I'll just cheat and put an axor in it. But I've run the die down again. Now that, if I cut the holes in the next bit and tap them as good as it's done that, these are fairly new. I've had some sets of fine metrics for a while and they've not really been used much. But that's in there. Like I say, I'll make the other 2 off camera, and I'll make the nuts off camera. It's nothing special. But this is the hardened pin. Now I've drilled it 4mm. I drilled it 3.5, then I drilled it 4, and that's a little bit tight. So we'll see. I mean, if you measure it, it's just coming up to 4mm. It's 4mm. So that might just be a slight little bit of persuasion, some Loctite in there. Size and size will fit eventually. We'll see. I mean, it might spread it out a little bit at the end, so I'll just have to be careful. See how tight it is, but that inserts in there. I shall just swap over onto the other lens. That's it was a lens off Amazon that fits on this GoPro. It wasn't that expensive, I suppose, but it's supposed to be like a macro type lens. We're seeing how we're going. I'm trying to get something else in the future for slightly more close-up pictures if I can. Like I say, that's the one done with a 3. I thought, well, I might as well put the 3 in first off, make the 2. I'll do the 2 and do the 1. I was going to do 4. We've got 3 on here. I was thinking of doing 4, but I can't see any reason why. But I still might drill 4 holes in that anyway, just in case. You can never tell. Or you could have 6. I don't know what you want to use 6 for, but anyway. So I'll do 3 of these, and then I'm going to do this bit because that's the matching part for that. And like I say, I'll see when I've done the OD how much I think, how much room, and whether I'll use it for anything else with more than 3 setting pieces. But onwards and upwards. Well, for once I'm kind of following the list. Next bit on here, it says is this lever. 5 1/8 long, 3/8 stock. We have, it's 5 1/4, so we've got a little bit of room to play with. I'm going to form this end first and run a die down at M6. Like I say, it's just for the this handle here, and I've got a die that's 3/8 BSF. So I'm going to attempt, before I do anything, put a thread on that end, hold it ever so lightly, and I've already machined and put a centre in one end. I'm not bothered if it's a little bit long, it shouldn't be too bad. If it's, I mean, it's only going to be 1/8 of an inch longer anyway. And then form this taper. I might use a small ball-ended button tool that I've got. So we've got a bit of a rad round there, so we'll just give it a bit of strength. Anyway, it doesn't want that much strength. And then it's asking you to insert it into the spindle before you heat it up and bend it. So we'll see how we get on. Obviously, fast forward through the boring section. I'm just turning the end down, ready for the M6 thread on the end of this. So just thought I'd speed off right way through it all. Right, the plan of action with this, it wants about a 1 degree taper, ever so slightly up there, so we're going to try it. I've got a parting tool that's just been ground a little bit off at the front. Turn this round to the compound round to 1 degree. Small centre in it. We know roughly where we're going to up here. It's about 4.5 inches, I think, and we're going to see what happens. Again, fast forward. Once I got an initial cut, I then brought the cutter back onto the job rather than digging it in and taking it away. It cuts far better. Okay, heated that up, bent it up to, well, approximately the same angle, and give it a quick buff, and bar probably undoing it a little bit and putting a bit of Loctite in there. I would say that bit's now finished. Like I say, they ask you to bend this while you've got this screwed into there, obviously, so you get your angle and everything right. So the lever will obviously work like that, and it looks nice. On for the next bit now. Now the next bit we're going to do is this main body. It shows cutaway here, or if you look on this section here. Now we've got the stock. There's going to be a 3/8 reamed hole through it, and we have a 23/64 drill, which is on the 15 to 20 thou limit for whichever way you decide you want to ream it. Now it tells us to first off machine this 1/2 inch section there for obviously holding in your tool post, quick chain tool post, whichever one you're going to use. So we're going to flick the ends up first off, make sure it's nicely squared. I might take a very light lick off one face, and then we've got a datum face to press up against the back jaw, because it's asking it actually in the instructions here. It sounds like it was originally done on a lathe with a small vertical slide, probably on something like a Myford, where obviously with the milling machine we can do it on the milling machine, and it's asking you there to drill it from either end, which is a good idea. If your drill does begin to wander ever so slightly halfway down, if you turn it round. But obviously if I take a light skim, I might just, or at least just mark up which face and then rotate it 180 degrees. Obviously I'll have a stop up, I'll check on my face again for pitching across, and then obviously drill, and probably then go all the way through with the reamer. I have myself a nice machine reamer there, so we'll see how that goes on. And then obviously there's all the other features that need putting into it, especially these holes that are then going to take the other matching end for the dovetail, which I think, reading about them, are machined. So you can see how it asks you there's your hole. This is a breakthrough hole it describes about later on. But these, the other side for the dovetails, it asks you to put them in and then machine them in situ with a little shim plate in place, so then you can almost get a fit of how you want it on the dovetail. So we'll get cracking with that first off and see how we get on. I've faced one end up and I've used the same faces, and I've checked them with a square, and you can't get a thou and a half under them. Obviously got a little piece of welding rod in here just in case anything's not square. Give it a bit of a tap with a dead blow, and my parallels are stiff on the bottom there. There's no movement. So I'm going to machine this face up now to the length, I think it's about 3 inches. Yep. That looks okay. Right, I've just blocked this up now to 3 inches. Quite happy with the finish. I'm using my 0 to 4 micrometer that I got off the best eBay. I don't mind using mics with anvils on, as long as you treat them correctly. They're handy to have. Obviously you check them off against your standards, and if we can't trust a Mishitoi's standard, who can we trust? I've got 0 there, and I've checked all 4 corners of this, and I would say 0, 0, 0 and 0, and in the middle 0. So I'm quite happy with that. Now that's that bit roughed out. Now I've decided to leave it as it is. It's up about 60 thou there, and there was about another 10 thou to go off the depth, but the reason for that is this. These are my tool holders. Now, I suppose it depends on what kind of tool holder you've got. So the more material on there, the better, really, in a sense. That fits in there. The hole is very close to the edges there anyway, I suppose. Limited space, amount of material, etc. But these are only going to get marked up with your holding screws anyway, and it's meant to be turned over, so the finish doesn't really matter. I've checked it, it's central with inside about 5 thou. We're just up about 60 thou there, and we're up about 10 thou on the thickness, so it's not going to get in the way of anything. If anything, it will make it stronger. Now, moving that aside, this isn't the first one. That's the first one. I made a mistake. I forgot to tighten the cutter up. You can see, and like a blind idiot, I let myself carry on. I forgot to check the depth, and every cut it's going further and further down. And I thought to myself, I'll see what it's like on the other side and see if I've got enough material, but it's going to be really damn close to this hole that you've got to drill and ream. So yes, a drop bollock. That's going in the drop bollock bin, along with anything else that's in there. It could be used for something else later on, but anyway, at the moment it's just a paperweight. So yes, next job is to drill. Now the instructions sound like they've done it on a lathe years ago, which probably would have been right if it's been on a Myford or a small hobby lathe from years ago. I won't be doing that obviously on the milling machine. I'll be putting it up against the back jaw. I'll have a stop on one side or the other, find my centre, my back, my centre across, pitch in, centre drill, over halfway through with a drill. It's about 15 thou shy on the reamer, and then I will be turning it over, doing the same again, breaking through, and then I'm going to ream all the way through. And this has got to be a good slide finish with the 3/8 rod that goes down there. Now I did talk about putting some more holes in it. Now the 3/8 rod has got 3 grooves in it at 120 degrees for the 3 stops. So I'm not going to deviate from the drawings. So the next job, we'll get this back on the mill and we'll drill and ream this hole, and hopefully no more mistakes. Right, drilled that 5mm ready for tapping. I'll go and tap it later on, and I'm obviously checking now. This hole is 1 inch back, so just touched on, get a visual sight with the vernier and get ready to drill halfway through, or just over halfway through, with a 9.1mm drill. Now centre drilled, got my 9.1mm drill. I'll touch on, get a touch with that feeler, 10 thou, reset my little scale up there, and obviously now I want to go through at least 1.5 inches plus the end of the drill, so that when I drill through the other side, I want to be just a touch over halfway, so then they'll break through into each other. Fingers crossed. Now turn the block over, made sure I got it nice and square. Same again, drilled and tapped the 6mm hole for the little stop, centered this main hole, and I am now going to go through with this 9.1. Hopefully it'll cut the same size and ready for the reamer. think I saw Quinn from Blondie Hacks once. She had a nice little, very small syringe, something you fill like inkjet cartridges up. I thought it was a very good idea, just putting oil directly into the hole. I think it's saving a lot of waste oil, that. Right, well that's broke through, and I'm going to get set up for putting the reamer through. Right, so we're all set up now for the reamer. Plenty of oil. And we'll see how it feels going in. Right, let's see how this fits. Ooh, well, that feels a bit stiff. Ooh, that is a bit stiff. Right. I'll tell you what, I'll try, well, that goes in and it breaks through to the other end. Might just be a few burrs. Oh no, might have been a bit of swarf. Right, now then, test. Oh, a little bit of a pop. Wouldn't say it was brilliant. Okay, on for the next job. I've got my heater and the dehumidifier on today because it's bouncing it down outside. Right, now put the block in. We're going to do a groove down here. It's 400 thou wide. Now I've got it placed on one parallel because there's a slight discrepancy. I mean, I only used a rougher on them other two, and there's a few thou discrepancy, but there's only about half a thou difference with the thickness on this bright bar, so I've placed it on that. Now I've found the edge, I found the centre, sorry, the edge of the block there, edge of the block here with the edge finder. I'm now going to use the rougher again. It will get it done as quick as possible because, like I say, it's just for clearance when it's all assembled. It's nothing really tied up. Right, I've opened that slot up now, and we have, when I stop it moving, literally 400. It should be 425 on either side. I've got 430 there, just under 430 there. Yeah, 425. I'm probably on a bit of a step there. Ah, there we go. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a step on this cutter, but the centre is definitely 400. So I've probably just got a little bit of a rad underneath there, but like they said, it's not to be accurate, it's just for clearance. We've now got some holes to drill on either side, so I might, I was going to touch on, but it should be okay, we'll soon find out. Now these next two holes are actually to break through into the 3/8 reamed hole, so you can have a steel ball in there, and it helps to centralise the three little ribs that are going to be on it for the individual stops. So you're to centre it and start to drill with a 4mm drill, because the steel ball is 532s or something, I think. It's 3.9 something or other. And you just try and get it where you're just breaking through. You don't go totally through. you just break through a little bit so that the ball just sticks down about a 30-second. So a little bit of guesswork, a little bit of feel, see how we go. Right, we're all set up now. We've drilled and tapped these holes for the ball bearings, and that are going to sit in the indents in that shaft. The next thing to do is to drill the holes for the handle. Now, I haven't fitted the pinion gear yet. It's got a bit of a burr on it whenever it's been parted off, but I'm going to leave it because that's quite a tight fit. That's got to be fitted up here yet, and then either Loctited or pinned in. What we're going to do first is find the position on here and drill and then ream 3/8 for this part of the shaft first, and then you open it up with your boring head. For this is 600 and some other thou, I can't remember. Obviously, for that to sit in there, that's all going to sit in there, and then last bit, once you've opened that, you bore a slot for the retainer piece that fits. I'm not too sure if it fits in there. I think it fits in the slot. I'll have to have a look on the drawing, but it holds this then in place. I think it fits like that. And obviously you've got your gear, which it'll break through in the centre down there, and then the slot, the tool holder with the dovetail, once I've done the other part, will go in there, and this is how it's kind of all driven. So anyway, let's get on, start doing these bits first. That's the 3/8 tool steel. That's alright. Must be a nice good sliding fit. That's alright. So that's the first bit done. Get a jig borer out and get all the dimensions for doing one of these diameters down here next. We've eventually moved up now to a 16mm cutter, so that should put us about 60 thou-ish shy of our size. Right, I've got the jig boring head in, and I've slowly took it out, let it all settle down, and I am at present 16.92. I'm going to 17.5. I've done it in metric because this head's in metric and it's easier to do. Says he wants a nice fit. I would say about 1 thou, and I have 16.48. Sorry, 17.48. Well, I'm going mad. 17.48 on there, so I'm going to aim 17.48 up 1 thou, which is around about the O2 mark, so we'll go for 17.5. Okay, got it down to 05, just under, so fingers crossed. I'm heading for the size I want. Right, I'm getting that touching on at 17.51. What the proof will be to see what the shaft is like. Ooh, right. kind of wrecks all my sizes up for going back, but never mind, you've got to find out. I mean, push comes to shove, I can undo this handle and rub it down if we're off. Now that is a little bit tight. I will admit that is a little bit tight on there. So I think the easiest thing to do, to be honest, I've not glued anything in with this yet, is undo this handle and actually rub this down. Just blend it in so it fits in that hole. I'm not going to risk, I'm going to check the depth now as well, that's the point, but I'm not risking taking a cut and having it too loose. I'd rather just rub this down ever so gently with some emery and just get that to fit in there. It's not far off. It's not far off at all. And I think that's the easiest thing to do. Right, I'll measure this and come back to you. The next thing I ask you to do, while you've got it all set up, you can put the slot in for the retaining piece. And from this centre line, which we're 1.5 inches, we're obviously halfway, it's 3/4 of an inch. Now as for a 3/8, I haven't got a 3/8, but for some obscure reason I have a 9.5, which is just underneath. Now hopefully if it cuts to size, I will just tickle in the retaining plate to fit in the slot. So we've got 3/4 of an inch up here and 3/32, about 93 thou. Now I've left my wine nipped up, so it won't alter the size, and I'm going to feed it by hand. Well, quick catch up. I've got this lens on. You can see how we're through there. I've done the slot. This is the piece of material that you get. Now I say I did 9.5 because I haven't got a 3/8 cutter, so we're a little bit tight on there, but that'll just be a bit of fettling. Now I've had a polish on that diameter and I've just put that pinion gear on there, and as you can see, I still think there's a little bit of fitting going on, but that fits in there and it's pretty much central in that slot. I think that's how it's supposed to be. You can just see down there everything seems to be flush, so I'm happy with that bit. So I can just feel a little bit of rubbing. It's either that pinion gear, it could just be that a little bit, but anyway, that's what they asked for. Nice fit. Like I say, that goes in there, that goes in there. I'm quite happy with how that's working so far. So the next thing to do on here now is I've got a series of holes to drill on either side, and the female part of the dovetail, you hold it again in the vise, put the strip on there. Obviously it's sat up like that, and you put there's a shim that you put underneath, so it raises it up and you mill away underneath to the desired depth. And then you take that plate off, put the other plate back on that's going to sit on this side, and do exactly the same, hopefully to exactly the same sizes and dimensions. And then you've got, because one is held in with countersunks and one is counterboard, so that the counterboard one, you over drill the holes ever so slightly, so you've got a little bit of leeway, but like a bit of adjustment really, to get your good slide fit. So anyway, next up, these holes and some dovetails. Right, so I've touched on here, beginning my job, and I've got to pitch across. I'm going to centre 4 holes, then 3.2mm drill for clearance for the 3mm countersunks that are going in the main body. And then obviously we're keeping the same stop, but I'll alter my Y size, because in the drawings you got to be careful, because the 2 plates aren't the same, because obviously the upper plate is given a little bit of leeway. So we'll get on with these now. I'm just explaining here, I used a 5mm end mill just to counterbore these for the gap heads. Right, in my usual forgetful haste, I forgot we've got to take these 2 down to 385. So I'm going to touch on, try and do them all together. I'll have to measure either end, and hopefully they'll turn out the same. Soon find out. Right, we're down to what should be ready for the last cut. We're looking for, we're going to finish at 385. We have 75, 80, 85, 89, 389. Just tapping the parallel through. I know I shouldn't be doing, but never mind, I'm doing. Measure the other end. Right. There's a shocker. That's 389 as well. That's nice. Yeah, 325, 50, 75, 80, 85, 389. So I've got 4 thou. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's top limit. We're given 5 thou, but we'll go for top limit. Right. For some reason that was grabbing a bit then. Right, fingers crossed. Right, you can't see me just measuring that side off camera. But I have 75, 80, 384. I took a thou and it didn't seem to be taking anything, so I wound it off, wound it back on. But I thought, well, I've got 5 thou to play with. I've got just under 384. Yep. I'm about to say I could measure the tenths, but we've got 385 minus 5 thou, and I've got 384 3 8/10. So I'm happy with that. Take them off now, deburr them, see how they look. Right, done a bit of deburring. Hang on, I'll go and get the mic. Better still, it's in my pocket. Right. 3, 25, 50, 75, 80, 384, 383 and a half, 384. A little bit of a bow, but it shouldn't matter. That's a thou, but it's still within spec. 383 and a half, 383 and a half, 384. So, whoops. So, right, and I haven't broke through in any places. It looks like the drawing. So the next, oh, what I also did off camera, you get a shim, a 1mm shim. This, and what I did, I just drilled it. I took a few little pictures. It's that thin, you can't hold it anywhere. So basically what I did, I just marked it out, centre potted it, held it in the vise, and just used a cordless drill against the plastic, because I didn't want to distort it. This is going to be, but when I do the dovetails, it shall go that way around, I think. I think it's that way around, one way around. And when I mount it on here, obviously I've got to drill and tap the holes for these yet. That's going that way around. And you put the shim on to lift, you put him on that way, I think, reading the instructions. It lifts it up with the shim, and then you cut your dovetail underneath. Again, same kind of ideas of the slide. You get it so you just get a 1/10 out witness along there, and then you mount the other one on your shim and go to your same settings of what you've done. So hopefully you've got two exactly the same. And like I say, this is made so it can move ever so slightly that kind of way, so you can get a good feel. This one is fixed that way around, and this one has the slight amount of movement on it. So that, if I am correct, is the next thing to get cracking with. I really wanted to have this finished in 2 parts, but as things do go on and other things happen in your everyday life, it is going to be 3 parts. But here's a little picture to whet your appetite.